Hi, I'm Lisa Singer. I am the Senior Director, Event Programming at MediaPost, and this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers today. And with me is Julie Evans. She is the VP and CMO of Omaha Steaks. Hey, Julie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining me. And I always say joining me, but being on Zoom with me. But I have to say, and I always like with Omaha Steaks, always part of like Christmas presents, birthday presents. My dad just got them. A friend of mine, he got them, and and I always usually end up sharing with them in some way. But so you are big on my to-do list when I'm looking for gifts.
Perfect. I love to hear that. You
Yeah.
are the perfect gift.
Yes, it really is. So, but anyway, before we get into more about your career, I like to do my snooping, which I always say. And one of the things I noticed when I was on Facebook, and you had a quote from a song. It was from a is it McAnally? Is that how McAnally?
Uh, Mac and Allie, I think so. It's,
Okay.
like with
Okay.
Jimmy Buffett,
Mac,
he's been Jimmy
Mac, I'm
Buffett.
sorry if I am messing up your name, but
Me too.
song is every day is once in a lifetime. Well, the quote, it's called once in a lifetime, but in the words are every day is once in a lifetime. Now, it's sort of that's contradictory in a way. Like, when you think about it, usually someone says, oh, I had this it's once in a lifetime moment. Like I swam with the sharks or whatever it may be. I, hiked Kilimanjaro but every day is once in a lifetime. That totally changes the meaning. It's just like every day it should be treated that way. And so I love that. And what prompted you to put that on your Facebook?
Well, my husband like does the our playlist around our house. We have music on all the time, and every time that song would come on, I'm like who sings that? I'm like, it just is a really catchy song. And when you really listen to the words, they really have good meaning for like how I live my life because, I'll never get this day again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, today is once in a lifetime. And I just need to be very, careful in how I choose to live it and my actions, because once it's gone, it's in my past and I never get it again. So, I just think it's great words to live by. So, and one thing that I do when I uh, talk to people or sign up on emails, I don't say have a great day. I say make it a great day. So I think the two are kind of related, that how you live today is a choice. So, and make good choices.
Yeah, no, I love that too. And I do think, I think we kind of go through days and it's just like, oh, it's just another day, another day. But one time there won't be that other day, like hopefully not for a while. But I do think that is such a great mentality to hold on to. I'm curious though, like getting into what the meaning usually has been, a once in a lifetime experience. Has there been in your career, like there's certain things that happen or in your life even that are once in a lifetime? And I don't mean, swimming with the sharks. I mean something where you'll never experience it again. Maybe it's when you're starting out in your career and you have this certain fear or I don't know, you do something differently or is there something that has been that once in a lifetime experience for you that really stands out?
Um, I would have to say something that happened early in my career, and I always use it when you do that icebreaker, like is it two lies and a truth or two truths and a lie. So I always tell people that, and I guess it wasn't once in a lifetime because it happened a couple of years, but early in my career, I was like my mid-20s, I was just a punk. And I worked with one of our largest clients, and we were a Berkshire Hathaway company. And so we would have an annual meeting with that client, and Warren Buffett would go to the meeting with us. And it wasn't like a huge meeting. It was sort of an intimate luncheon, a boardroom setting with, the significant people, players at our client. So I've been to lunch with Warren Buffett sitting in the room. And I don't think at the time I even realized what a big deal that was, but pretty cool. Um, yeah, so, and I think one time I caught my dad telling one of his friends that I had lunch with Warren Buffett. And so that felt pretty good. I mean, who doesn't want to, make their dad proud? So kind
Here
of
your
like,
dad
I
bragging
like
on you.
that story.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love Warren Buffett. I mean, I've never met him, so I have not had the privilege of having lunch with him. But just from what I see and read about him, he seems like just a really guy you want to exemplify, in so many ways. So
Yeah,
that's
he
pretty
just
awesome.
really down to earth, he was a storyteller. He'd ask questions of the room, just really a cool guy. And our first home here in Omaha was probably 6 blocks away from where Warren Buffett's home in Omaha was. So he lives very humbly, at least his home in Omaha. So,
Wow, very cool, very nice. Well, so let's talk career in terms of when you were first starting out. As I said, here you are at Omaha Steaks now, but when you were first graduating or envisioning your career, what were you envisioning? Was it to get to where you are today?
yeah, being a chief marketing officer, that was not even on my radar. So when I was in high school, different schools would come into the high school and talk to you about career opportunities. And someone came in and talked about a court reporting job, and the starting salary seemed good. And so I'm like, oh, well, I think I will be a court reporter. And so I got a scholarship to go to that school, and I was in class, and I quickly realized that I don't like to just listen to the conversations. I like to be in the conversations. And needless to say, I was not doing very well in school, and I had a scholarship to go there. And so I worked with the people at the school, and I switched and I got an accounting degree. So I went through all the accounting courses. So I ended up with an associate degree in accounting. And the whole time I was at school, I worked while I was in school, and I was a reinsurance accountant. So that's pretty rare. I never set out to be a reinsurance accountant either. And that job actually got me a job closer to home. And as I was in that job for about 6 months, the CFO who hired me actually tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Hey, I want you to meet someone." And he introduced me to a gentleman that worked in our direct marketing division. He was a vice president of client services in the direct marketing. And so I met this gentleman and we hit it off, and I moved my job. I moved my role to being, it was called a client representative. And that's where I really entered marketing, because we worked with our clients on developing marketing programs for these closed audiences. And I did that for 12 years until I decided to move on to Omaha Steaks, where I'm at today. And that was, I hate to even tell you the date because you'll know how old I am, but that was in 1999. So if you think about the internet back in 1999, everything was new. I mean, companies were, had stores on AOL, they were forming their new websites. Consumers thought AOL was the internet, Google wasn't a thing. So everything we were doing was pioneering all of these digital marketing channels. We were developing our email programs, we were developing, merchandising on our website, we were becoming an affiliate program. We started doing search marketing when that became a thing, when it was, Ask Jeeves was the big search engine. So it was just such a cool chair to be in. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. It's just being in the right place at the right time to get all of that experience. After that, I stayed at Omaha Steaks for 12 years. I kept getting more and more responsibilities. So taking on things beyond digital, taking on our offline things like, radio and TV and print and direct mail. So taking in all of that. But after about 12 years, I decided it was time to move on and go do some other things. And now after that time period, I've been back for 4.5 years. So 16 and a half years collectively at Omaha Steaks. So I just love it here. I always loved the brand. When I didn't work here, I was Omaha Steaks' best customer. I swear, I still am a good customer now that I work here. My freezer is packed full of Omaha Steaks. It is just so nice to, when I get home from work, I, have wonderful proteins and even sides and desserts. I don't eat desserts every day, where I can just throw a quick convenient meal on my table, 30 to 40 minutes. So
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds, I mean, obviously, as I said, I'm a fan of, I mean, I enjoy eating Omaha steak, but also it's always a great gift. So I agree with you there. But I'm curious in the sense of, because what I love about you obviously started out completely different direction and then realized that early on, which is good. So then pivot to accounting, but still completely different direction. Although if you think about it, the CMO, because then you go into the marketing, but then CMO is kind of the accounting and the marketer coming together, because you have to keep an eye on the spreadsheet in terms of the budget. So I'm curious, all of that, and even going to another company. I mean, it was just, I think you said 4 years or so, but all of that, do you feel like that made you be in a better position to be CMO with a
Oh, 100%. I think, I often tell people at Omaha Steaks, the best thing I did for Omaha Steaks was actually leave. So I went and did a couple of things, but I did land at, Oriental Trading Company here in Omaha, and just a very, very sophisticated direct-to-consumer marketer. And I had, someone who really took me under his wing and, taught me new ways to think about the business and investments and strategy. And so, coming back to, Omaha Steaks, I was actually gone for 8 years. Just I've been able to, bring those things and apply them to Omaha Steaks. And so we're just better because of it. So, really, a good experience. I'm glad to be back though. I love the brand. So when, I was invited to come back, it was a quick yes.
well, that sounds great. And it sounds what I think, and I think people need this is good advice to give is you're open to other opportunities. But what I also am noticing with your story is you have these people who see something in you and then they approach you about it or and then they help you move forward in things but you then are open to that but you also find that is there someone or is there in that course of your career that maybe that person who gave you that piece of advice or something that you really hold dear to that helped you sort of navigate your career a little bit more so.
Um, I have been blessed to have had really good leaders along my journey. So I would just say that I am an accumulation of all of my experiences with all of those people. You kind of become that collection of, all the people that you've worked with, you pay attention, you kind of pick up the traits and things that you like in them that you want to become. I think as you develop your leadership, you need to be a leader with intention. You need to figure out how you want to show up every day, what works for you, for your personality, for your strengths. And I really feel like I've been able to do that, with all the people that I've worked with. I think the other thing is, and even my leader today, the, CEO of Omaha Steaks, one of the things when he talks to me about, me and who I am, he's like, you're a learner, right? You always want to learn new things. I'm not set in my ways. I'll take feedback. Feedback is a gift, and, make adjustments, just to be better. So I think, one thing, for people that are listening, to pick up on is, always be that learner, be willing to take feedback. When I actually ask for feedback, when I ask for feedback, after a presentation or a business meeting, or it's not like, hey, what could have I done better? It's really easy to answer that question. Oh, no, you did great. I specifically ask this question. I say, give me 2 things that I could have done differently in that presentation, so it would have been better. It would have been more well received. I don't know. It's just a different question because that one I will get the feedback because they'll be like, oh, well, I can give you 2 things that you did. The other one is so open-ended and broad. So,
Yeah.
um,
No, I think that's great advice. Because I mean, the thing is, and I love that someone in your position still feels that way. Because I think when people are just starting out, you expect feedback and you want it, but then you don't, because again, it's like not everyone doesn't necessarily want to hear what they need to do better. But then there's a lot of people who sort of say, I'm good, this is good, and they're not open to that. And I think at all levels, at all places in your life, at all ages, we always can improve. Or even if it's not improving, it's doing, like you said, differently. And maybe that different is just opens it up to another aspect.
Yeah, what could have I done to be more effective in this situation?
Yeah.
We all have relationships with people that we're working with. Sometimes you just need to go talk to someone about, how to deal with this situation so that, we can get to a better outcome. I don't know everything, so I love to, collaborate with people and get other ideas. And I think, being a CMO and in my role, you have to always be a learner too. Marketing is changing so fast. So, you can't act like you know everything. It's very important to, just ask a lot of questions and tap into all the resources that you have available to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm serious. Has there been a challenge that maybe seemed like just you're not going to be able to get through this? Like it really sort of gutted you, and then you figured it out, or you moved forward, or you just kept plugging away, whatever it may be, but you were able then to come to the other side of it.
You know, I would say a challenge and something I struggle with today, but I have awareness that it's something that I struggle with, and it really is getting to life balance. And I intentionally say life balance because I don't think that work life balance is really the right way to describe it. That when I hear that, it means like work's in this compartment and life's over here and they don't intersect. And I feel like that they do intersect, and it's about finding harmony between the two. And that's why I like to call it life balance. Now, I did not make that up. Someone told me that and it just stuck with me. But it reminds me of really why I left Omaha Steaks in the first place. And it's because I couldn't disengage. My kids were younger. And, I remember being in a line at Disneyland and I'm sitting there on my phone. I don't know what it was, probably a BlackBerry back in the day. And they're like, Mom, get off your phone. I couldn't leave it and disengage. And so when I came in and told the team that I was leaving, the then president and CEO, the late Bruce Simon, actually sat down with me and spent a lot of time with me. He really wanted to understand what was in my head and why I was leaving his organization because, I'd been doing pretty well. And I told him that, I just can't disengage and I need, to be able to spend quality time with my two boys. And what he told me, and I remember this, and it was back in 2011, he said, Julie, we don't ask you to do that. You do that. That's your behavior. And until you decide to change, you're going to always have this problem. He said, it doesn't matter. It's not going to matter what's in that briefcase you carry home. You are going to be the same unless you intentionally decide to change.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's Omaha Steaks. You just like want me to work all the time. But what I found out when I left is that he was 100% right. That it was me. Is like, no matter where I was pouring everything I had into my job and other parts of my life. They weren't getting the attention that they needed. Now, I feel like I've been able to work on that and I'm better at that and I'm super intentional about it. Because what I'm also realizing is that my behavior is what my team sees, and then they think they have to behave like that. So if
Right.
I go on vacation and I work all the time and I'm jumping on calls while I'm on vacation, then they think they have to, and they don't want to. And so I have been doing a really good job about when I go on vacation, um, acting like I'm not engaged. If I choose to engage, right? I just don't want them to know, like might maybe will write an email with a delayed send or, turn my team's message that I'm not active, just those things because I don't want them to see it because I don't want them to think they have to behave that way. So clearly, I still have that
To
issue.
say, are you still though, are you less engaging in, when you're taking your vacations, or like, are you less dealing with the work? Like, are you able to have that life balance more so than say you did when you first left Omaha Steak all that time back?
Absolutely. So I am better, but I like I get joy out of what I do, thankfully. And so, I don't mind it, but I am doing better. Like we just, after a crazy Christmas at Omaha Steaks, had my entire family in Cabo for a week. Yeah, and I like turn all my notifications, email notifications off, Teams off so that I can disengage. If I want to like check in when I want to, then I do. But yeah, I'm getting, a lot better at it. Kind of back, today is once in a lifetime. And I don't want to have any regrets, that I spent this day on vacation all plugged into work. So I am getting better, but I not only do it for me, but I do it for my team so that I can set a good example.
Yeah,
And
no,
tell me that I'm doing a good job, that I'm getting it right. So,
yeah.
but like, if I choose to work on the weekend, I put everything on timers.
Oh,
Unless I need a response from my team, but yeah, so come Monday morning, they might get 10 emails from me at 8 o'clock, but you know what? They didn't have to worry about it over the weekend.
so yeah, so you said that's actually smart. I'll do, especially when I was in California, I would send things, say Sunday night, because I knew the East Coast people team would be getting up earlier. I wanted them to have it, but I always felt like I always write the note. Don't worry about it now. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just, but I wanted to get it out there. But yes, doing the timer, that would be make it more sense. So maybe I should start doing that instead.
Yeah, well, now they actually like in Teams and in email, they'll be like, hey, this is outside of work hours. Do you want to delay it? And I'm like, oh, thank you for the reminder. So that's probably why I'm doing a better job.
Well, yeah, we don't use Team, so yeah, I have very difficult time even signing into Team. They're always trying. It's like you have to update, so I kind of give up. But what is it? And tell me what people might get wrong about you. You know, when they first meet you, what's something that is common that maybe people assume about you initially, and then find out differently as they get to know you.
Um, I would say maybe that I'm super confident. I think, I actually have like some underlying insecurities. I have that imposter syndrome. Um, so yeah, they might think that I have it like all together and I'm just, this little bundle of nerves. Um, nerves, like I remember a time it was like my first promotion when I was way back at that insurance company going to lunch with Warren Buffett. Um, I got pulled into a conference room like, oh crap, I'm like, I'm getting fired. And I was actually getting promoted. So yeah, I think that just that I have some insecurities. That's
But you come across like you got it all together.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've gotten to know you, you know, through just different conversations, so I can see where that can come into play. But no, in general, you come across as just very like that. You know, this is me. So
Yeah.
I can see where you did that. How do you when you do? How do you not sink into those insecurities? I guess you know what I mean. Like, 'cause I think we all have them. I think guy, man, or woman, we have insecurities. I think women tend to a little bit more so, especially. I mean, really, in all aspects, probably not just business, but do you stop yourself? You know, is there, you know, because sometimes people might say, oh, can you do this? And maybe your first instinct might be, no, I don't know. And then you have to kind of stop yourself and say, like, what do you do to sort of overcome that, at least superficially? And then ultimately, it probably, you probably actually do.
Oh my gosh, I have lots of conversations with myself. So lots of self-talk with Julie. I create a lot of stories and then I just have to say, is that the right story? How would I rewrite that story? And see myself having success in doing this, like even signing up for this podcast, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I've never done it before. But to rewrite the story saying, this is going to be great. It's it's something stretch for me. And maybe, someone will hear it and pick up some, piece of good advice from this conversation. So I do the story I'm creating, I intentionally rewrite the story.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So just it's almost making it, or it could be self-fulfilling. You know, like you're not really rewriting it in this particular case because you hadn't done it yet. So in your mind, by writing that it's going to do this, this, and this, and they're all positive things, you're basically it's almost that self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, it can also work against us when we do the negatives, like this is going to happen, this is going to happen. So, but it sounds like you do it more in the positive. So it gets you to be ready to sort of jump in.
Yeah, and that example was probably like more when I worry about things, because I'm probably worrying about something that it's not even true. It's not the story, right? Just rewrite the story.
Yep. Yeah. Totally makes sense. I know that you like to mentor. That's important to you. That's part of what you do. As I said, I always do my snooping, and I read that you wrote that there's nothing, truly nothing more rewarding than helping someone discover their own path. As a mentor, what do you think? Well, at first, I guess, what is your style? Like, is it to give advice and to tell people how that they need to be doing, or is it to let them make their mistakes, or what is your style? What is the best way do you feel to help that person? And it can be all ages. You need a mentor at all different ages. I mean, you even said yourself you look to learn. How do you go about helping people or mentoring?
Well, my style is I'm a fixer. So I like to tell people like, oh, this is the problem and let's do this, this, and this to solve the problem. But when I left Omaha Steaks, one of the jobs that I had is I was a business coach, a performance coach for a franchise organization. And I went through some really good training to become a registered corporate coach. And it was really hard for me because that's not what a coach does. What a coach does is they help the willing participant. It's really important that when you're coaching that the person you're talking to actually wants to be coached, but like they have all the answers in them. So I had to learn how to ask questions that could help the person find the answer because they know the answer. They know where they need to go.
Mhm.
I just needed to help lead them there. Because if I could do that as a coach, then they're going to be more bought into the decision, right? To the action items that we agree on. So, and then also as a coach, it's that accountability factor. So if you do get them to say, gosh, well, if I did this, I think, my business could turn around, then saying, was it okay? I follow up with you in a couple of weeks to see how that's going. And they'd say, sure. So then a couple of weeks would pass and I'd be like, hey, last time we talked, you thought about trying this. Did you do that? Right. So being a coach is, not being the fixer is, helping them figure out what needs to be fixed and how they're going to fix it. And that was really hard for me. I remember I would have a sheet of paper with all these questions on it that were really open-ended questions to help get them there. Then over time, you kind of get to know the questions to ask. But that was really good training. Again, I left Omaha Steaks and I think I came back better. That was one of the experiences I got to go through is to become a coach, which is pretty cool. And then as you get in leadership positions, you're constantly doing that with, the people on your teams. So they
That's
might
what
tell you that I'm still a fixer, but I try to go back to the questioning when we have time. So.
Well, you sort of answered it because I was going to ask you that. Do you, with your team, because again, it's not someone else's business, someone else's career. It's your team, your business, what's your campaign, whatever it may be. Are you still that person to someone on your team to give them that, let them figure it out kind of thing?
Yeah, sometimes, I would have to say that it depends on the situation, if they are looking, I'm sometimes the tiebreaker in my role, this or that or what we think, but if it's someone like that wants, coaching or a conversation on how to deal with something, then I try not to give them the answer, but try to ask questions so they can figure it out. Like if they have two people on their team that aren't getting along, rather than saying, well, you should do this and have this conversation, you'll be like, well, how do you want to handle it? Or is there another way that we should think about, handling it before we decide? That would be if I didn't like how they were handling it, to have them come up with option two rather than me telling them option two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think people when it's kind of like even driving. I mean, not to, but if someone just tells you turn left, turn left, you can get there, but you don't remember how you got there. At least for me, that's why like I don't know how to get anywhere anymore with GPS. Like it's like because someone's constantly telling me. Whereas I used to be able to, figure it out because I would look at directions, I would or read what, and then it would stick in my head. So then I would remember how to get from point A to point B. So I mean that's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but I do think it sticks in you more when you kind of figure it out.
Yeah. So I try to use that coaching too.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, all right, you also on LinkedIn, you posted about Omaha Steaks, of course, and saying how it's the best present to get under the tree. All right, I want to ask you, what is the best present for you outside from Omaha Steaks? Anything? What would be the best present for you?
Um, I think this is gonna sound really cliche. I have adult children, so I have two boys, 29 and 25. And the best gift showing up at my door would just be them wanting to spend time with my husband and me, just, hanging out, doing things together.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there's some TikTok things going on right now of like grandkids going and knocking on their grandparents' door, and their gift is like having a sleepover. So I'm not, it's not that, but just really to be able to spend that quality time together. So, and when they are around, I really do try to put, work aside, phone down. They might disagree with me, but yeah, I cherish that time, and I'm so grateful that they actually want to hang out with us. So
Well,
especially my oldest son that lives here, he'll be with his friends and he'll be like, "Hey, do you guys want to come over?" So
that's great. That's
I
a
love
lot.
that.
No, that says a lot about you and your husband. The fact that your kids want to be a part of it. And I mean, you talked about having that family vacation just this in
Yeah,
right after the holidays, and they actually want to go. And that you yeah, at that age, that's an unusual thing, or not. No, I don't know if it's unusual, but it is. I think it's a nice thing that you have that kind of relationship.
yeah. Yeah, that's just, we love it. So we love being together, but people are busy. And so I'm grateful when they take the time to come over. You probably saw that I'm also a Kansas City Chiefs fan, if you
Yes,
were
I
around me
did.
a little bit. So you would see my voice in those pictures because we're season ticket holders, so we go to those games. So the Chiefs played last night, and my 29-year-old son, he's at our house and we're watching it together. So that was a gift. I just love it when, they make time to be together. So, and sometimes he even comes over and just, helps us get stuff done. So he's super handy and strong. And so
Yeah. So you guys Swifties?
I I'm not really a Swiftie, but I just think the Taylor and Travis thing is just super cute. So yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't annoy me. I like it.
you're a yay Taylor. Like it's there's like this big, conflict as far as Swift Taylor Swift is making it so great and hearing all about her. And she's opened it up to a whole new audience, really, when you
Yeah.
think of football. Um, but at the same point, then the true football people are like, enough Taylor. So, but you're a pro Taylor.
I am, and I just, hope I couldn't even imagine their lifestyle where nothing is private. They're just, always exposed. I mean, I don't think about it a lot, but I just wish them happiness and, hope they
Yeah.
get what they want. So,
Well, that is very nice. I'm sure they will love to hear that. So they watch this all the time. So I'm sure they'll hear it.
yeah.
All right. Last question, just quick answer. What are you obsessed with? Guilty pleasure.
Mm, that's a tough one. Um, I'm probably, obsessed. Oh, you know what? I actually have picked up playing pickleball. So
You have.
I don't play it a ton, but I will take anyone up on playing pickleball. So I just hope I'm not one of those that, falls and, tears an Achilles or something. But I think that's a blast. So that's, one of my new hobbies. So
Awesome. Well, very cool. So this has been such a pleasure, Julie. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing all this.
it was my pleasure. And everyone, make it a great day.
Yes, make it a great. And thank you. Hopefully, we made help make yours a great day.
It
And
was
thank you
fun.
for watching. And as always, if you have someone that you want me to pull back the curtain on, please let me know. I will do my best to get her. Thank you
Oh,
again.
bye, Lisa.